Rogue Show on Rogue Show from South Carolina. You are live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
What's up, Dan? How are you?
Doing good, Rogue Show. You want to ask me about veganism, right?
Yeah, I just want to get your perspective on veganism.
Yeah, just like in general, or like, or what?
Kind of in general. Like, I'm a meat eater.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a meat eater, so we might have some disagreement, but I kind of want to flesh some of that out. So.
Sure. Well, when I first started this show, I wasn't vegan, right? I became vegan or started pursuing veganism in 2020. So, like, obviously, I grew up my entire life eating animal products. It's not like I suddenly became a completely different human being. I certainly still enjoy animal products, like as taste, right? I didn't shun them because I did, thought they were disgusting. My shift in that was just trying to understand the ethics of why I did what I do. I'll tell you what it really was. You guys remember Pico, my boy Pico, my little cat. When he, of course, isn't here anymore because of his feline leukemia. But when I first got him, that didn't matter to me. I wanted to take this little kitten in and take care of him, right? And I was thinking about, gosh, I'm spending all this time making sure he's going to the vet and putting this, food on his plate and stuff. And this is just one animal. Why don't I feel the same way with other animals? What's so special about this animal and not other ones? And I think it led me down this road of really kind of questioning that. I also knew, some other folks in my community who were already vegan, but like I actually started reading the books. I actually started kind of getting hard with it and, exploring works like, Peter Singer and, various other folks. I kind of realized, wait, this idea of carnism is kind of deep rooted in our culture. Like we kind of do have these sort of mandated ideas about what are the good animals and what are the bad animals and what are the ones that are okay to eat and what are the ones that aren't okay to eat. And most of that's just kind of bullshit. Like it's kind of based on arbitrary grounds. It's not necessarily for nutritional purposes or sentience purposes. It's just for pragmatic purposes and also for taste, right? And so like I just wanted to be more consistent in my a practice, right? And so I started to try to eschew myself from animal products. And do I still partake in animal products? I mean, in some ways, yeah. Like I just got a new phone this week. I have no doubt that the creation of this phone involves some animal products, right? But like, what's the best that I can do right now? Well, I don't have to eat meat to survive, right? I don't have to even get good gains, right? And so like I'm going to try to eschew that, right? I'm going to try to do as much as I can. And to me, that's what veganism is. It isn't just become a more righteous person so you can tell other people how wrong they are for what they do. It's no, this is a personal pursuit of me trying to equalize my own sense of morality, equalize my own sense of ethics so that I'm trying to at least be more consistent in my own path there. But anyway, that's kind of a long answer there. I don't know, Roksha, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. Because I guess a lot of people, there's like a big swing between vegans that hate people who eat meat and would condemn them at any chance they get, and the other swing is the other side of this swing where I can't personally eat meat, or I can't personally think of eating meat, but other people can do it. I guess my perspective would probably be is I want to touch on that arbitrariness. I actually don't really think it's that wrong to have that sort of arbitrary line, because I guess there are some animals that we know that are terrible, that would be terrible to eat, like dogs or cats or lions.
Yeah.
Based on maggots or
yeah.
or something.
Okay. Why not cows?
Prevalent. And
Rogue Show.
what?
Why not cows? Why would it be so terrible to eat a cat and a dog, but not a cow?
Oh, wait, they have maggots too?
No. Forgetting the maggots thing, right? Let's talk about the thing about modern animal agriculture, right, is that they have, first of all, it's not the most sanitary thing in the world, right? There's always going to be risk of outbreaks. In fact, COVID-19 is very likely and has been, and this isn't absolutely known, but it has been suggested that it's the result of an animal outbreak, right? So, there's all kinds of stuff that happens every year with diseases and stuff that people do get from animal agriculture. And I don't think that that's helping meat eaters in any sense of the word. That's going to happen regardless of what animal you eat, right? There's always going to be pretty much a risk of, parasitotic, I think that's what it is, sort of risk there. But regardless of that, let's say that every animal that we eat, there's no risk of disease by eating them. What then becomes okay for some animals to eat and not other animals?
I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet and say then maybe we can consider sort of lengthening that line. Like say if your lifestyle is you have to hunt and gather or grow vegetables or both to survive, then it would be more advantageous to not only kill the prey but also the predators. I guess.
So you're saying there's some sort of evolutionary reason as to why we should eat animals? Like because we're worried about, I'm not worried about lions trying to eat me, right? So, or bears or for the most part, right? So I don't know. I live in 2024 in Austin, Texas. So, my experience with that is kind of different. So I guess I'm not sure what your point there is.
My point is, my point is, I think the line is kind of useful because I'd say they now they're kind of sorry, I'm getting kind of nervous.
That's okay. I'll take it back to Tim real quick because want to make sure I hear his thoughts on this too. Yeah. Tim, is veganism a topic you've explored?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I don't have a strong opinion, although I do think about the ethical nature of mass meat farming and the impact, and also just the animal cruelty that is part of the meat industry. I think that's something to really consider. But to be honest, most of my headspace is so focused on Christian nationalism and reading 900-page playbooks called Project 2025 that I just have not given this particular topic a whole lot of thought.
Totally fair. Yeah. Interestingly, I think that there's argument to be had, and I'm not the first person to point this out. I actually got this from some of the stuff that I've read. From Christianity also having an interesting relationship with the hierarchy that we view animals. So most religions in the world, right, like the big ones, have predilections about what you can and can't eat, right? Judaism is a great example of this, right? And also Islam. But Christianity, we kind of eschewed that a little bit. And that's partly because of this debate that Paul and others were having in the New Testament, which is kind of fascinating that, how much the gospel, well, not the gospel accounts, but, the epistles can have on that. And also early church culture, kind of had this debate on what's clean and unclean food. And of course, famously, there's a Paul that has the dream that's like,
Peter.
Peter, you're right. Peter has the dream where it's like, everything is clean to eat, right? And so we don't have those same conditions that the Jewish religion does. But there's other things that suggest that there is a sort of a difference. So like when they talk about man was created, right? Man was created to rule over the animals, that we are the greatest in the creation and stuff. So there's like a history there of like putting people on sort of, I don't want to say a pedestal, but I mean, I guess it is kind of a pedestal. Yeah, right. Like above rest of creation in a particular way. And when we got to like the evolutionary sciences and stuff, for example, a lot of people had problems with that because like, wait, we're supposed to be special. How could we be, just like every other animal on Earth that has evolved? So I don't know. There's something to be said about that observation. But I guess, I don't know. The point I'm getting to with all this is my reason for veganism is truly just to fix my own sort of morals, fix my own sense of ethics. Because how can I just arbitrarily say, yeah, I really like cats and I really like dogs and I think they should be protected. And if I saw one on the street, I'd bring one in. But a guy who raises a cow is free to do it in these insanely horrific conditions and slaughter them and profit off of the trafficking of that animal. And I should just be okay with that. I just kind of feel like that's arbitrary, especially if it's a mammal who is just as intelligent and just as sapient as a dog or a cat, if not more so, right? Of course, I'm using cows as an example, but there's other animals that kind of express that too. So I don't know. That's a lot of thoughts there, Rogue Show. What's
no
that?
offense, but not chickens.
Well, I had to disagree. I think if you have a capacity for pain, right, then you suffer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's what it is for me. The difference, too, is vegans are vegan for different reasons. Some of them do it just purely because they like the dietary benefits of it. I'm one of the vegans that are into it for the ethics of it. So your mileage is going to vary with it. But it's, something that you have to sort for yourself. I certainly can't. I can tell people all day, oh, I think this is wrong and stuff. But, unless you're convinced by my arguments, I'm not going to really move the needle. It's kind of like what we were talking about with the last call, right? So I guess I'm not one of the quote-unquote preachy vegans, but, it is what it is.
Yeah. I guess, so now since kind of the nervousness
It's okay.
kind of shaked off, I do think, yes, I would definitely, if I would, I don't think I could bring myself to personally kill a cow. And if I had to, it's like, pain. I try to find a painless way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think meat because meat has a health benefit, like for instance, the Mediterranean diet has the main source of that diet is fish, and is considered to be a healthy kind of diet. Also, hopefully, if there's a sort of counter study, I would hopefully we'll have to look into that. But I found something interesting at NIH that kind of took piqued my interest, and it's that people who have eaten meat, or people who have eaten only meat products or animal products,
Mm-hmm.
report better moods and report health and report better energy.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Rogue Show.
It's from the NIH. So I'm not trying to.
Oh yeah, no. When it comes to people's anecdotal experiences with their own diets, I think you can find that with pretty much every single diet, right? I could show you just as many sources of people switching to a plant-based diet and how much better people feel and how blood sugar levels improve, stuff like that. The truth is, with any kind of diet that you do, there's going to be advantages and disadvantages. I'll be the first to tell you, there's disadvantages to a vegan diet. I'm not saying it's the perfect diet. Like I said, I don't do it because it's the most optimal thing. But what I lack in deficiencies, I make up in supplements, and finding appropriate sources plant-based sources when I can. So, you know, the thing is, when I was somebody who ate meat all the time, I wasn't really thinking about all that stuff most of the time anyway, right? Like, it's only when you become a vegan and then people start to, you know, bring that to you, you kind of have to look into it a little bit more. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and let you go because I want to talk to some other callers here. But I'm glad that you brought it up, Rogue Show. I like talking about it personally. It gives me an excuse to ramble on about it. So if you do want to know more,
I was kind of afraid.
Don't be afraid. This is not a place to be afraid about it at all. Like I said, not one of those types, right? But I'm going to encourage you to read a book. There is one called Melanie, by a person named Melanie Joy. It's called Why We Love Dogs, Eat Pigs, and Wear Cows. And I think that book is probably a really good starting point with understanding the history of why people are vegan and why people are vegan in general, right? But I will let you go. Thanks again for calling in, though, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. So there you go. Bet you weren't expecting a call like that, huh, Tim?
I was not ready for that one. Yeah. I mean, it's a great question.
Yeah.
I just haven't given it a whole lot of, I mean, I have given it a thought, but I don't have any strong opinions right now. Still forming them. But I do think, Dan, to your point, you made some very compelling arguments that if you were asking me, I would say, I don't really have an answer for you besides I need to think about this and chew on it. No pun intended, of course.